everyone, it's Jean from Inky Owl Studio. Welcome back, and a big welcome to those who are subscribing for the first time. I'm so happy that you all could stop by and spend a few moments with me. I am doing a series, and it's a design team project for 49 Dragonflies. I'm doing a series that I'm calling an Immigrant Story Journal. And basically, I have chosen one of the photos from her cabinet card digitals. I'm choosing a photo that I'm going to be making a story around. A young lady who is immigrating from Germany to America during the late 1800s, early 1900s time frame. And I'm collecting things in this journal that kind of help build a story. And they are things that reflect the time period and that sort of thing. So that's what I'm planning to do here with this series of craft alongs. They're not really formal tutorials, but I am going to show you my process and how I've kind of created some of the elements that go into this journal. So I hope you'll join me along. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, and we can meet up again and see how this journal comes together. This is going to be part 2 in the series, and part 1 was the introduction, and I will link that down below. And in the meantime, I hope you'll visit 49 Dragonflies and see what she has to offer in her shop. And if you use the link below and put in Inky Owl Studio 2021 and the promo code when you check out, you will get 10% off. So thanks a lot for viewing, and here we're going to start part 2. All right, let's get started with the cover, the cloth cover that I'm going to be making for the journal. And this piece is about 9 by 14 inches. And what I plan to do is take paper and have it folded in half, so that's going to be the writing part of it. Then I want like 1.5 to 2 inches for the spine, probably at least 1.5 inches. And then I want a little bit larger so that I can cut it back if I need to. I always like to cut things a ½ inch or so larger than what I actually needed. So that's kind of what I'm starting with, and it's fine if I have to cut it off this way. Now this way it's pretty close to where I want it. I have just enough here to do some zigzagging, and I like a little bit over what I need. So there we go, and that's basically what I've done here. Now I have sewn this piece of muslin on the end of this, and the reason being that for a closure on this journal, I want to be able to bring this over, close it up in this way with a button of some sort. So this is sort of like the flap over of the closure. And now I didn't do it with more of this, which I could have, because I wanted to make this part lace. So I have this lace piece here that I am going to be covering that portion up so that there'll be this pretty lace, the fold over part. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to glue this on in spots, and I am just going to use the glitter glue, and I still am going to sew around it. I still want to do that, but I am just sort of like tacking it down here on the inside. So I'm so excited to be working in this. It's going to be so much fun to build a story. I think building a story for a journal is something that I really enjoy doing. So I've been thinking a lot about our young lady that's immigrating, and I don't know if I've settled on a name yet. I'm getting close. Now here is, now I want this to hang over the seam. because I kind of like to see that design carried through, and you know, the wornness of this lace on the edge, how it's a little worn, you know, kind of gives it a little older look to it. So I am doing that on the very edge there. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to go to the machine. I'm going to sew it here. And I'm also going to cut it to the point that I'm thinking of doing. So I'll be right back. All right, I got the lace sewn down here. And now I'm going to make the point that comes to there. And first of all, I am going to find where that point is, the middle of it. There. And let me get this here. And the 0 is right there. Okay. Here's the 0. All right, that looks better. So now I'm going to just draw. I'm going to allow, like, here's the seam that I attach these two together. I'm going to allow like an inch on both sides. And that in there. And allow an inch over here. All right. So it's going to look like that. Now I want to cut it, but I want to leave about 1/4 of an inch there for seams. All right. And I can see this kind of needs to be evened out a little better. All right, so now we have this coming down like so, but I'm going to put a lining in there. So I cut a piece of muslin, another piece of muslin, and I cut it to where it was bigger than, you know, what I want here, just because I can always cut it off, can't put it back together again, so I always cut it a little bit bigger. And I put on a I put on some Wonder underneath, if you can see how shiny that is. This is the way I like to glue my fabrics in my cover journals together, but you could totally use fabric tack. You could use, you might even be able to use Mod Podge if you put it on real thick, you know, on here. It'll change, it'll make it stiff, you know, if you do that. But you could glue it however you think you need to do it. Now what I am going to do first of all, though, before I even iron it together, I am going to sew just along here and along here. And I'm doing that because I would like this to really be a seam inside rather than stitch. You know, I could, okay, so this, I had two choices. I could just go ahead and iron this all together, right? Just iron it down together, get it all attached, and then go over and zigzag all the way around here, down here, around here, and here. I could do that. The only thing that I kind of wanted this to be a little neater than a zigzag, because it is kind of lacy, it's kind of frayed, and it is older. It's a vintage lace. So what I'm going to do then is I am going to sew, put the right sides together, and I am just going to sew right along the seam here that I had drawn. Right. I'm just going to sew here and sew here, and I'll be right back. I've sewn along the seam here, but I did not sew down this area at all. Just the two parts of the triangle up here. And I forgot to mention that you need to put I needed to put a tie in here because that's what's going to wrap around the journal. So I had to stick this little sari silk tie up in there, and when I did that, instead of coming to a point, I just sewed it flat where the tie was. And so we will just turn it inside out like so. And now we have this little lacy part that is going to eventually fold over, and then you wrap the sari silk around, and I will put a button or a vintage button here to kind of close it with. So that is the idea of the cover. And so I will be ironing this Wonder Under, or this Heat and Bond is what I use, but I'll be ironing this now to here. And you really, you know, I could have glued it as well. I just like using this because it's quick and easy. When you use it, you always got to make sure you don't iron on top of the glue. You can clean it, but it just makes your iron messy for a while. So what I usually do is I press it on this side, the side that's been glued. This is where I will press it down inside that area. Yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. So let me step aside and get that part done. All right, I have ironed it down inside the inside of the journal, and I found that I really had to let this cool down and get cold, because I tried to fold it too early, and as you can see, some of it kind of like lifted. So because this fabric is so heavy, I really had to press and give it some time to cool down. Anyhow, I cut these edges straight so that everything, you know, lines up, you know, squared off and lines up pretty well. And I also am not going to cut or sew. Well, I might cut off the muslin, but I'm not going to zigzag down here yet, because I am not sure how far over by the time I get everything in there. I'm not sure how much room I'm going to be needing for this flap. So I'm going to give myself, you know, just let it sit there, and I can cut it off at the end and then zigzag it down, and it'll all be good. Thanks a lot for watching. I so appreciate it, and that was kind of fun putting this together. And so the next video, I'm going to probably be giving more details about the signatures and share with you some of the ephemera that I'm making to complete this journal with. So we will talk to you later. Have a great day. Bye.